Record. Okay, guys. Today I'm going a bit early because I think there's a lot to cover. If you're not speaking, maybe you can mute yourself so that there's no echo or anything like that from anyone's line. Um, so yeah, let's start with fear and greed. I think fear and greed is at 74. So, it's not, fear and greed, I think, gets a bit worrying when it gets into like 80, above 85, then it's getting a little bit too frothy, I think, when it gets into those kind of zone. So 74 is okay. It's been going up, bubbling between 72, 74. So, it's okay. Fear and greed is fine. And then let's have a quick look at the liquidation heat map because obviously this will tell us where the market makers are likely to go. And as you can see, the market makers are driving the price down. So this is a 1 month view, and there's liquidity here around 64,000. There's liquidity at 66. There's liquidity at 63. There's even liquidity down at 61. So, you know, we can go all the way up to 61,000 on Bitcoin if the market makers want to push it that way. But I mean, this week is an interesting week because it's the election year, um, election month in the US. And this particular week, if you're not careful, honestly, two things, you're either going to be liquidated if you're trading, or you miss out. You get spooked, and fear will grip you, and you miss out. But this is the week to really get your teeth into buying stuff. So, liquidation levels, let me look at it on Model 2 and see how Model 2 is looking. Okay, so there's plenty of liquidity down. There's liquidity here at 69,000, but I think if I look at it from a 1 month view, yeah, there's plenty of liquidity down. So there's plenty down. So, they will take as much as they want, and at some point they will then stop. But there's also liquidity building up nicely above, which we can start moving out for. So that's that one. That's the liquidation levels. And let's start with Bitcoin. Let's go with this one because I want to use this one. So let's use the Coinbase chart and start from there. The one thing that I was doing over the weekend on Saturday was looking at the election cycle, right? And looking at, okay, what happened in that particular week of the election cycle for the US. So, here, this was in 2020, the 2020 election, right? So as you can see, November is a very solid green candle, and I put a smiley face on it, right? So solid green candle, which suggests this election cycle in 2020, we had a green candle in November, right? And then if you then go to 16, so that's as far as my data on this chart goes to. So if we go to 16 as well, so in 2016, November, during the election, Bitcoin went up as well in November. So the two elections that we've had so far, Bitcoin went up in the November month. And from the November month of the election, it was just go up. Basically, it just went up. There were some drawdowns, yes, but it's go up. And then, if you bring it back to the most recent one in 2020, you can see here that, it's also just go up time. So it's just go up time. And we went up for months, like 1, 2, 3. Then we had a pullback in December-ish. Then January, February, March, April. Sorry, January. All those months, December, January, and February into 2021 was just basically go up, go up, go up, go up. So we kind of expecting the same thing, to happen. And if you break this candle down, this November candle down, there are some interesting scenarios that you get to see on the daily chart. So if I zoom it out so I can see that smiley face somewhere. I'm sure the smiley face will be somewhere in 2021. So let's go here. Yes, so here. And that is here. So somewhere here. Okay, so the 1st of November, 31st of let's just make this bigger so we can all see. So this is the 31st first. Let's go here. So we have 30th of October, then we had 31st of October. 1st of November was down. Then we had the 2nd was also down. And then that was it. And then on the 3rd of November, away, we just went away straight away. So I mean, and this is 2020. So let's go and have a look at the other one and see what played out. We went down the first week a little bit in 2020, 2 days down, and then off we started going up. In 2016, it was slightly different because we had in 2016, there was a lot of downage. So, we went down quite a bit. So, for example, if you look at this, that's the election was on the 8th, I think the 8th of November in 2016. And, we kind of went up. So, we had a big down on the 3rd of November, huge, 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 huge down on the 3rd of November. I mean, the 2nd of November and then the 1st of November were up, but we had a huge drop. I mean, this is a big drop. Right? This is like almost like how many, what's the percentage drop? About 9%, 10% drop. And then we went up and then we came back down again. So November was a bit higgledy-piggledy in terms of, first week come back down, big down, then you go up back again, then you come back down and revisit the candle again. So, and then after that, it was just go up, right? It was just go up. So November could be an interesting month. It could be the sort of month where the first week you're down and you go up, and if you either continue going up or you actually, going to come back down again to kind of the scene of the crime in terms of, so it depends on how this week closes, right? This week's close is going to be important. It will close on Sunday. So we know November is going to be a month where you have to really buy, you have to buy, whether it's Bitcoin or whatever it is you want. This November is a great month for buying in the election cycle. And from then onwards, you're going up. So let's bring it back to today and start our review from, let's start our review from the monthly chart, right? Because the monthly chart gives us perspective in terms of, higher time frame and where we're going, right? So if we look at it from here, so last month we closed in green, which was positive. So last month was really positive. We closed in a green candle. Volume was higher, so we expect to go higher. MACD is red, but sometimes it's a lagging indicator, and so long as it changes at some point to green, if it keeps on going red, that's not good. So we need to keep an eye on that. But I think because of where we are, the election cycle and everything else, I think this thing goes up higher. Of course, after a bit of a pullback, and I think from a pullback perspective, just using the monthly chart, we could pull back all the way to here, which is 65,000, 65.7, which is the 9-day MA, or we could come even up down to here, or even we come all the way down to here, 61,000. So I think for me, I see Bitcoin, pulling back potentially, to somewhere. Let's say the 9 moves up a bit, so let's put it on this pivot here, 66.5. So 66.5, somewhere there. And then, there's a potential for us to also come all the way down here. So, between this box somewhere, we will kind of land somewhere there. And Bitcoin will then bounce and start going back up. So I think that's where Bitcoin is heading this week. If we go to the weekly chart and have a look, this candle here, we've had a big sell-off, right? And I don't know, because it's not midnight, there's 6 hours left. Anything can happen. It could be green, it could be red, anything can happen. But there is a clear direction in terms of sell pressure, and there's a sell pressure going on, as you can see from the wick of the candle here. Some people are selling, a lot of selling. So that's more likely to continue. And that selling pressure brings us into that box as I've just drawn there. So somewhere in between that box, it gets us there, and then we have a reversal and we keep going up. If we look at it from a daily chart, so the daily is also ending more likely today will end red, 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 very, very likely. If it changes on Monday, of course, I will post it on the platform for everybody. But we don't have a divergence on the daily chart. So there's no divergence, where price has gone high, down, and RSI has gone higher. We don't have it. We don't have it yet. So if this candle closes, more likely it can go up first, come back down. If it closes like this, then you will expect us to kind of push up a little bit first before, or it could be the end of it, and we might push up and go higher. But I don't think that happens because obviously the election is on, is it Tuesday 5th? It's on the 5th, and it's a Tuesday, I think Tuesday or Wednesday, one of them, Tuesday. So I don't think anybody will be putting huge amount of money into any asset until they know the outcome of the election, I think. So I don't expect any big moves in price up until the election results come out. And the chart is telling us anyway, the energy flow is down, and until the daily chart changes, you have to respect that energy flow. That energy flow is down. So the downward energy flow more likely to continue. If we close like this as well, then you've got the volume is there. The volume is bigger here compared to yesterday. So you expect the trend to continue going down. So we respect the trend until it changes. And if it does, then yes, we change. 12 hours, we do have some divergences on 12 hours. So this one here, no, actually, we don't have it. We don't have a divergence on this 12-hour chart. No, we don't have it. So maybe this might be it. So if this closes at midnight, it could then turn up. But even if that turns up, that's just your first divergence. And normally, the first divergence is not, especially on 12 hours. I don't really trust that too much. If we put a trend line, we were to draw a trend line and draw it across here, across there. So if I just draw it, I draw a trend line, I say I draw it from here, and I just put even across here. Because we've broken the trend line. So, we've broken the trend. The uptrend has been broken. So, we are below the trend line, and we could have a retest of it before, but the energy flow is down, and I think this thing continues to come down. In terms of the target, I think that 65K to maybe even here 65.3 becomes the area where it will stop. Because if we were to draw a trend line from here, were to draw a trend line and we put it from here and we carry across here, right? And we carry across there and we carry across here, you can see that if I get rid of this because we don't need it, we cut across that place, and here somewhere it will fall somewhere here. And there's no guarantee, right, that it will hold, but at least it gives you a zone, like that's the trend. If it comes down and touches this and bounces away with good volume, like something like that. So if it does something like this here, where you poke it, you just go back up. The moment you see something like that, then we know, okay, yes, that's it. We're going to go up. So I'll be watching that, and I'll leave this line here and see whether when we hit that trend line, does it actually hold or not. So I don't want to go below those time frames because it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because daily and 12 hours is as good as gold as we're going to get. yeah, it's as good as what we're gonna get. So let's leave it at those higher time frames to make our decision. This is 3 days chart. 3 days chart. Again, energy flow is down. If I go for a 6 day chart, we are having like a triple red scenario. So more likely you come back down a bit more. So yeah, I mean this is looking interesting for that bounce here somewhere 65.4 area as a potential bounce area. So that gap it's will somewhere here in this box Bitcoin will fall before we go up. So that's Bitcoin. So we think we're expecting a bit more of a little bit more of a kind of a fall, a little bit more falling on Bitcoin if the chart closes as it is. So if we close the daily chart closes like this, then yes. But if at midnight this whole candle has been reversed and it's like this one. So let me just go to 12 hours for something here. So if the 12-hour chart, if the daily becomes like this, then chances are that's a stopping candle, and that probably will be the end of the fall. So it depends on how the day the day closes. But as I say, I'm not expecting us to be going up. It will be a bounce. I wouldn't be expecting us to be going up, because of the election. Nobody's going to put all their eggs on the table, not knowing what the election is going to do. So I think there's some caution in the market around that. But if it changes tomorrow, and tomorrow we get bullish candle and we get green candle, then we all have to just jump on the boat and just keep on going. Follow the money, as somebody would say. So so that's Bitcoin. Let's move on to TIER, Celestia, because this is one of our coins that we trade. So let's start with the monthly chart and look at Celestia on the monthly chart. So Celestia on the monthly chart is it's again, I think we ended last month red and we've come below it, which is positive. That's all we can tell at the moment because the month has not closed, so we can't really draw much of a conclusion on this. The weekly chart is looking very, very bad from a sell perspective. So, there's a big sell. This is a big sell volume, huge sell volume. I mean, if the sell, who is it? Let me just go back in. Admit. Okay, huge sell volume on this chart, on this particular candle. And I think the week will end red, no two ways about it. So when it ends like this, especially when you have got this pink candle here, you can get a bounce, right? You can get a bounce first, and then you continue the journey down. Or it could be the end of the fall. So you just have to be careful in terms of, this particular candle, but there's more sell pressure in the market. A typical example is here. So if you see this one here, we had a big sell-off, pink candle, triple red, and then we bounced up, but ultimately we come and exceed it at some point, right? So we came back and exceeded it. So if there's a bounce from this candle, more likely it will come back down to be exceeded, right? So that's something we need to look out for. So we could bounce all the way, back to here. It depends on how Bitcoin obviously performs. But if this closes as we are now, the probabilities are it should be exceeded at some point. More likely, after a small bounce to the upside, and then you exceed it on a lower, somebody's just messaged me. Let me just see what they're saying. No. George, did you find any challenges joining from the invite?
No, not at all. Very straightforward.
Yeah, George is George. John is asking me the question: have I changed the invite details? And I said no, I haven't.
No, I think you set up the first time, right?
Yeah, I haven't
And
changed.
then you sent the second, you changed it. So in the calendar there are two.
Yeah. Okay, I see. I
Yeah,
see.
so it's the one you join that would determine if you join the one with the many more invitees, then you're fine.
Right. Okay. Let me put this on the platform just in case somebody's struggling as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if we exceed this, if this close like this, then tier will come down a bit more. I if I go to the monthly chart, we looked at the month. If I look at the daily chart, no, 3 days chart actually. So 3 days chart. So we have a very similar story here, right? This pattern here, three reds in a row, and then this pink candle, right? Um, and what we can see is, when we closed, we bounced up first, and then we came to exceed it, okay? And now we are exceeding and going lower, right? So if the weekly closes like this, you can expect a slight bounce up. Maybe I'll put it somewhere here, slight bounce up to somewhere there. If it closes like this, emphasis on it, because we've got 6 hours left. So then you have a small bounce, maybe back up to about 470-ish zone, and then it comes and exceed this and probably does a final fall into this box here, into this box. Um, I honestly will not rule out this candle being exceeded. This candle can be exceeded, and it's sitting at think it's sitting at, let's see, why is the numbers not showing at the top? Okay, 371. So 371.84 is this candle. So this can be exceeded. So we are either going to get a scenario where it stops here, or it comes down here, double bottom, or alternatively, it kind of goes slightly lower, maybe slightly lower. I think this is a bit too far-fetched, but slightly lower, maybe somewhere there. And then, that will be the end of the fall, and then you can go up. Because at that point, you have a divergence. Currently, we don't have a divergence on the weekly chart. So if we look at it here, there's no divergence on the weekly chart. If we go to the daily chart, we do have a divergence because this here, so this is slightly higher than that, and the price has gone lower. So we do have a divergence on the daily chart. It needs to flow into the weekly chart. So this is why I'm thinking that we would come down, but we've got to be careful that it could be here, it could be there. I'm more favoring more towards maybe between these box here rather than that box. But we've just got to be prepared, for whichever scenario that might play. Um, you know, I certainly will be, if I have my short position will be small. I will be making sure my short position is small at the moment. It's not too big. So that when it bounces up, if you're in profit, better to take some of those off, so that when it bounces up, you can load up some more and bring it all the way back down to this point again, and take some profit off that one, whilst you protect also your position in terms of liquidation. But I don't see us going anywhere below $3. It's possible, anything is possible in trading. You've got to prepare for whatever scenario, but that would be it would be unthinkable. Unless Bitcoin falls to maybe 60,000. Yes. Bitcoin falls to 60,000. Yes. From where we are sitting at 68,000. Yes. Then yes, it can. It can come to this $3 zone. But if Bitcoin is only going to fall to about 64, 65K, then it's very hard for TIA to come to this zone. Another interesting thing I found was if you look at the volume. So if you look at the volume of this particular candle, the volume, if you look on the left-hand side, the volume is 539.446 million tier. These guys released how many? 1 billion. Yeah. Half is gone. Almost 539 is gone in this candle. I don't think all of them are going to sell. So if we say, okay, let's say another 200,000 in the next candle, we're almost close to the billion coins they released. And so we are close to the end of the sale on tier, very close. It's not done based on this setup, but we are close. So tier, I think, yeah, a little bit more falling, but not much. You know, a little bit more, I would say a little bit. So I think this box here definitely gets filled up. But, you know, you just got to be prepared that, you know, it may come just slightly below here and bounce and then keep going up, and that will be the end of it. You won't see it here in there under the $4 anymore going forward, if that's the case. So that's tier. Let's look at render. So render, right? Okay. So render. Let's use this one. And before I move on, I actually want to bring the BTC tier chart because that's important. So you can see here the BTC tier chart is back to base. You know what I mean? Like where it started in October 23. It's literally back to base. You know, it's like there's no point buying, you know, you would have been better off buying Bitcoin. If you know, so these altcoins, they go for a big run and then they just come back to their base, you know, afterwards. So I think the next cycle, you know, when we get to the top and we're selling these coins and stuff, we'll just probably just buy Bitcoins. Because if you buy Bitcoin, if you bought Bitcoin, you would have done a 3x, and then you can sell some of your Bitcoin and come and now buy tier because tier is now cheap, right? And you're still in profit on your Bitcoin, but tier is in a loss. So I think that's quite poignant in terms of strategy going forward in the next cycles that we obviously will be trading this thing. So it's back to base, and I think this is why I'm saying there's not much falling left because it can go lower, yes, but you know this is a psychological barrier for people. You know, it's a big psychological barrier for a lot of people. So, you know, people see it back to base, they're thinking, okay, now it's time to buy, and they will start buying. If I go on a daily chart or like a weekly chart, let me go to the weekly chart. You know, we don't have a divergence here yet. On the daily chart, on this chart, there is divergence, right? So you started forming your divergences right from here. So I mean, again, this is another set, right, with these pink candles, right? So you can see afterwards we went down slightly lower, and then off we went up, right? So you know, and that gave us our first kind of divergence, right? And now the price is coming down. It's like a double bottom, right? Let me see something here. There's a double bottom here. No, it's not. It's not, but it's close. So it bounced back, but I think it will come back down again and form another divergence again, a second divergence where this will go lower than that, and then that will be 2, and it probably then moves into the daily chart as well and becomes a divergence on this BTC tier chart, and that probably is the end of the fall. So there's a lot of positive stuff going on. I don't think the falls are there's a lot of it left in terms of falling, but there is definitely some, but not a lot. Yeah. Okay, let's look at render. Render BTC chart is the same. So the render BTC chart is the same. The only difference is that with render, those who bought in what 22, 20, what 20 January 23 are still sitting on a lot of profit. They still are in profit. If you bought in March 23, you're still sitting on profit. And I don't think we exceed this point. I don't think so. You know, I don't think we exceed it. This place will become a strong support zone here. This zone here will be a strong support zone there as well. So it'll be a strong support zone across here. And, you know, it probably will be defended quite a bit. So I don't see this coming all the way back to base. And this is the sign of a good coin. You know, clearly a sign of a strong coin that can hold this value against Bitcoin, because others have come to base and this thing is still holding up. So this is a really good coin to hold. I think, in the next cycles, this will be a really good coin to buy, because clearly it can hold its value against Bitcoin, and not lose it as much compared to some of the other coins. So this is looking good. Did somebody want to ask a question or no? Okay, let's go on to the monthly chart. So monthly chart, we've exceeded last month's candle, which is good. But I think there's still a bit more pain on this chart, a little bit more, based on the way the moving averages are set up. So with this one is crossed, and at some point this probably will cross as well. If the selling pressure continues, the daily chart is got. Let's see, we got some divergences here. No, we don't, but we are clearly in the oversold region. I mean, RSI is 24, so we are definitely very oversold on this coin in terms of the BTC chart. So, it can easily bounce. If you look at the bounces from here, look at this point here, it did bounce from around 24, and from then we went quite high. We are around that same spot again. So, maybe a little bit more falling, but not by much, on render BTC against the render BTC chart. Let's go and look at the actual render USD chart then and see what's going on there. Look at it from a monthly chart. So monthly perspective, I've drawn the trend line there, and that trend line is going to be the line to watch. So this thing can come all the way below here, which is 336, and probably go and test this line. If the falling pressure becomes intense, I think more likely we get double bottom. There are going to be three scenarios. Either we're going to stop where we are and go down slightly and go up, or we're going to do a double bottom with this candle here, which is around the 343, or we go down slightly lower and touch this trend line around maybe 310, 315, somewhere there, and then bounce and go up. So three scenarios plays out. I'm not so sure which one is going to play out, but based on the BTC chart that we looked at, we are in the oversold region. If we go to the weekly chart, again, we're not in the oversold region on the weekly chart. We are 41. So there's still some more opportunity for us to fall. But this candle here, more likely is the one that we're going to be testing. So, we can either test the middle part of it, $4, or it will be like double bottom, or we'll go slightly lower. So there's no divergence in the weekly chart. The daily chart, we don't actually also have, we do actually. Let's have a look. We do. Look at the RSI. No, we don't have a divergence yet. So clearly there is a little bit more falling to come, on render, a little bit more. So that box will get filled, and then we can create some divergences in this box, which hopefully then flows into the daily chart. If I look at the 12 hours, 12 hours, we do have some divergence, I think. This and this are neck and neck, or actually it's gone lower, so there's not a divergence yet. So there's potentially for some more falling, but again, we are below 30. So this 28 RSI is 28.74, which is in the oversold region. And if we go to like maybe 8 hours, it's way oversold. Like, you're way oversold, like 25. No wonder we have a bounce. We just way oversold. So we have a bounce to get outside the oversold region, and then maybe it will come back in again. So we want to see, we want to see some divergences on 12 and daily, to be convinced that the fall is over, and we don't have it yet. So there's a bit more, and I think RSI on the daily chart can come all the way up to 24. So I wouldn't be surprised if this candle is equaled or we come to somewhere there, that will push the RSI a bit down into the oversold region. But yeah, RSI will come close to this. I think let me put an alert here. I think we will get somewhere around here at the very least on the daily chart. The RSI will come lower before we go up. So there's a bit more pain on this one as well. Little bit more pain to come in terms of the downside, but not a lot. I mean, if from a trading perspective, you look at it and say, okay, even if we came all the way down here, it's what, 22%. But when you go and look at the upside, excuse me, if you look at the upside in terms of where this is going, and again, if you look at November, from November 2020, luckily enough, well, we don't have it. We don't have 2020 on this chart. We don't have it. But if we just use the Novembers, let's see, November, April, May, June, July, November last year, November. From November, this thing went bonkers, right? It went really, really high. So, I mean, you're talking 3x, easy, an easy 3x, on this one. This thing will go and exceed $13. I think my realistic target for this coin is between $20 and $30. Between $20 and $30. So we have a lot of movement between the now and June, now and March, quite a lot. So, all this space will be filled up. And at the very least, I think, between 20 and 30 is where I think we'll hit. We'll do a 3x or something like that, 3, 4, 5, 6x. Will probably happen on this particular coin. So it's looking good. So, from a trading perspective, it's just maybe use it as risk control for your long positions, which should be a larger position of your trade, really. And then so that's render. Let's go and look at PEPE. Let's look at the PEPE BTC chart first. PEPE BTC chart, it's not looking good, I must say. PEPE is not looking good at all. So this week, I'm dead sure we'll complete the week red candle and red MACD. This point here is sitting around 1152. 1152 is already being exceeded. This setup, when it lights up, it tells me we'll go down below it, but sometimes it takes a while. So this thing showed up in August, and it's taking almost August, September into November for us to come and exceed it. So it's always a warning shot when it shows up. You've got to be careful on the upside. Okay, so it's not looking good. It's more likely to come down a bit more on this PEPE BTC chart. So the strength of PEPE against BTC is going to fall some more. But having said that, I mean, it's held its own. I mean, if you bought PEPE in July 23, you're still sitting on a lot of profit against Bitcoin, and it won't come here, and probably ends up stopping somewhere there. Somewhere here, somewhere there, more likely somewhere here. So you're still sitting on profit if you, of course, got in earlier on the, in the early phase of PEPE, you're sitting on some good profit. But it will come down a bit more. So PEPE on the actual USD chart, if we look at the actual USD chart, I think I've already drawn some lines on it. On the weekly chart, again, this setup here, and I put the angry face on it because I put it on for a while. This is more likely to be exceeded. So it's coming, and it's coming. So at the very least, PEPE will hit 593 before we start going up. So that has been there. This box, I've drawn this box for I think 2 weeks now, and that zone is going to be filled up. That zone will be filled up. If it doesn't get support here, and I don't think so, because from counting my levels, all this here is one level, all this here from here, all the way down here is another level. So we're going to go 2 levels on the weekly chart, and so a 3rd level is in hand, and it could come all the way and then exceed this point here, this point here, which is what 393, and or double bottom type scenario before it goes up. But that's a scenario we just have to follow, right? We price action, if after this candle we get something like this, 3 greens in a row, we're not going to say, oh, we're still waiting for this. No, it means we are going up. So we just have to monitor on a week by week basis. So at the moment, more downward action on PEPE into the box. And then we'll monitor when we get to the box whether we get bullish divergence or something like that, which tells us actually that's the end of what we're going to get, and we can buy to go up. So that's PEPE. I don't know if anybody's interested in GOAT on this one. If nobody's interested in GOAT, I don't really want to spend time looking at it. But
I am, bro. I am.
Okay, Masha. All right, sure. Okay, so good on the weekly chart, I think we'll end like this red. And if we end red, we're going down more. So, I would probably, last week I drew this line as the target and it's been exceeded. I would draw my line on this week between here and here, between there and here. That's where I think it will fall, because this week we'll close red, which means we'll go down some more, and we'll go down some more. If we go to the daily chart, have a look at the daily chart. It's MACD is coming. The volume is dropping really badly. It's dropping down and down and down. We don't have much on RSI at the moment. We do have some kind of divergence forming on the daily chart, on the RSI. So, but when you form the RSI divergence, you tend to anyway come down into it anyway fast before. And the first daily divergence normally is not the one you probably get another one as well, because from a levels counting, this is level 1. This could be level 2, and then this could be level 3. So, but sometimes you get another level down first. And it's a new coin. So new coins tend to come to base most of the time. They tend to come to base before they kind of go up. So the daily is looking good if we close like this. Let me look at 12 hours. 12 hours, we got some divergences on there. So, 12 hours, we do have some divergences here. So gold seems to, be getting some strength on the lower time frame. But on the higher time frame, it's this candle won't change in 6 hours. It can, I think. Let me not say it's not possible. It's possible. It can change, but you'd have to reverse quite a lot for that to happen in 6 hours. So I think the week will close red, and if it closes red, we may bounce up a little bit. So maybe the bounce up might bring us, if the candle closes like this, you could get 50%. So somewhere there as a bounce, and then you continue the journey down, back into the box somewhere there. So some more falling on GOAT. I wouldn't go buying just yet until we have confirmation. At the very least, on the daily chart, proper confirmation on the daily chart, then you can decide to maybe start nibbling. But we don't have the confirmation yet. So if you buy, you just buy into a speculation. If the day closes like this, like we had here, then we're going to go up, right? And then you can buy into it, knowing you have confirmation that you're going to go up. Or even something like this here, where you had a bullish divergence right there, and therefore you started going up. So we need to form something like that first before we kind of jump onto it. Okay, deep. I don't think anybody's buying deep, but so I'm not going to cover deep. Pendle. Let's look at Pendle for the weekly chart. Yeah, it's not looking good on Pendle on the weekly chart. If we close like this topping candle scenario, then we will be coming down some more on Pendle. Pendle is done really well because it's moved quite well. I mean, from the $1 move, from the $1 divergence here, it's basically moved. It's done almost 191%. That's almost 2x. That's really good. But there is no kind of a lower high we need a lower high somewhere in this box here, a lower high, so that, when you draw your path, and just draw your path, it becomes something like this here. You've gone up, and then maybe you come down into test it somewhere there, and then you continue the journey, right? At the moment, we don't have that. All we've got is just straight line up. So it needs to cool off. And that's exactly what's happening at the moment. It's cooling off. It's coming back down. And somewhere in this box here, it will fall in somewhere in this box. So between the likes of $3.55 and somewhere down here, which is $2.50, it will fall somewhere in there. And then hopefully we start seeing some divergences, like we see a candle like this with strong volume. Then we know, okay, yes, the fall is over. Then we can buy, knowing that we have confidence that we're going somewhere. So I think, the next couple of days, Sunday into Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday could be very, very nervy in terms of falling prices, but it's short term, right? It's very short term. Even if you bought at 432, if it's spot buying, you bought at 432, you're still going to make, this will go at least about $20, $30. So again, you're going to make money, if you buy at this level, but there's an opportunity to buy cheaper. So, and for trading, you've got to make sure you're buying cheaper, because otherwise you get liquidated unless you have a short position as well. Okay, AVE. I don't think anyone will buy AVE at this point, but okay, let me just cover it anyway. So AVE weekly chart is coming down. It's a real shame, because I had a short on AVE at 160 or whatever, and I closed it, took profit on this candle. I should have left it. It's coming all the way down. I think AVE comes into the box, and I've drawn this box for a while. Some of these lines, when I draw them, they're like magnets. Price keeps coming into it. It's just, you need to have a bit of confidence that, it works and it comes. Yeah, it's coming down into the box here. I think somewhere here, AVE will fall between the 121 and 110. It will fall in there. And, then we can get kind of continuation. But AVE is done really well. I mean, if you look at it from a perspective, done well, fell to $30, $51, and it went all the way to almost $200, $183. So if it pulls back to what, 110 is nothing. I mean, if you drew a trend line on it, that's probably where it will fall. So if you put your trend line from here, let's go from there, cut across that point there. Make sure we cut across the base, not somewhere. So yeah, you're coming back to that sort of zone. So that zone, that box there is what will be fixed. And then this will keep going down, keeps going down. MACD keeps going down. We start having some divergences. Then we know we are ready to go again. Similar to how this happened, keep coming down, go below zero, have a bullish candle like that, strong volume, pull back into it, and then you go up, you retest, and then off you go. So that one is also looking like one for more price downward action. Let's look at SUI. So SUI on the daily chart, on the weekly chart, we can see energy flow down. After this candle here, we had a bit of a bounce up, which is like your lower high, lower high scenario, and we seem to be coming down. It depends on how this week closes, but I think this week also closes with it continue to go down. And again, I've drawn this box here. I think this is the zone, somewhere between 120, 140, and the 120 zone. I think that's where SUI will fall to before we start going up again. So it's got some more falling on it to come. If we look at the daily chart, we've done only again. So we've done one level there, this whole drop here. So if we go all of this point here is one drop, and then this is your two. So this is two all through here, two. And so we need a third one. and this will bring us here into the third one. And that would be it. That would be the fall, end of the fall, and then off you go up. So a bit more falling, one more level drop to come on this one. Okay, so that's SUI. Let's go on to let's look at a SUI BTC chart. So the SUI BTC chart on the weekly chart, still got a very strong volume candle on it on this one. Strong volume candle here. We've dropped 3 weeks in a row, and we've had a bounce, and now sell pressure is coming into the market. Go to the daily chart. Yeah, there's sell pressure. So the sell pressure is coming into the market. So a little bit more falling on this one to kind of that zone here before we start going up again. But the marketing machine on SUI is done well. They pushed the price quite high. Smoking chicken fish. I know Zach likes this one, so let's have a look at this one. So this one, it did a beautiful move initially. Zach sent me this coin. It's moved up beautifully, and now we've got 3 weeks in a row. I think it's coming back to base. That's where I see it coming all the way down here. Down to the 0.033 zone. And I think I've drawn this line for a while. Again, this is another candle setup. As you can see, close on the week. We then went slightly back up. Then we came back down. So, the tier chart is very similar. We close like that. You're going to bounce, then you go continue your journey down. So, and that's exactly what's happened here. So you might get a small bounce, and then you think, oh, that's a good bounce. We're bouncing back up. Like you did here. You got a small bounce up here, and then, of course, you continue the journey down. So it's got a bit more falling to come on smoking chicken fish before. And then we see if we get support at 0.03. We don't get support here, then it's going to go a little bit more down. So that's got a few more drops to come on it. Linex, we've got our Linex coin. So Linex is come back to base, literally. It's back to base. I think there's still, it's coming to the box that I drew for Linex. That's been filled. But there's nothing saying it's finished in terms of falling. The daily chart is giving us some bullish type scenario. We've got a pink candle here, so which means this is more likely. It's two things. Either it's, if it turns green, then that will be the end of the fall. Otherwise, it will bounce up and probably come back again down, based on the kind of push against the falling price. So the bulls are trying to push the price up. Hence why you've got this type of candlestick at the bottom here. And again, RSI is at 28, so it's it's already in the oversold region. So on the daily chart, yeah, there isn't much more. There's not a lot of falling left on this. We're back basically to base. I think we have a very strong divergence here on the daily chart, because here, see where the RSI is, and here we've gone lower and see where the RSI is. If we draw a line, it's up. Right, so we have a divergence here. So if this holds up, that might probably be the end of the fall of this one. But we'll get to know by tomorrow. But if Bitcoin is going to fall, then chances are all these coins will fall a little bit more. It may not fall as intensively as others because it's kind of at this bottom. So Linux looking good on the daily chart, and we just need to make sure, see whether it converts into a bullish candle at the close of midnight today. MUBI is also coming into the box that we drew on the weekly chart. I've drawn these lines, and I've always said these lines will be filled up somewhere here, 0.2. I initially had a 0.2 as my target on this one, and that 0.2 got hit this weekend. But I do still think that on the weekly chart there's more falling, because if you look at this candle here, it's a strong rejection candle. So I think we come into this box. MUBI comes into this box and becomes a double bottom, a slightly higher low in the middle of this wick here. something like that at the very least. So there's a bit more falling to come on MUBI before we start going up. So that's MUBI there. Let's look at Aptos, because I know Zach is keen on Aptos. So Aptos, I think we drew these lines last week. I said it would be between around $7 and $5. And, Zach was like, he'll be buying when it gets there big time. So you have your opportunity, Zach. It's coming. So yeah, it's good. This is a big volume selling on this weekly chart. And if we close like this, then it may bounce up a little bit, but it will probably continue coming down into the box somewhere there. And I think it gets somewhere here, 542, maybe even as low as $5. You could pick it up at that price, and then that becomes again a lower high. So these things, when they move like this, I'm not happy when they move like that straight up like this, because there's no lower high, and the lower high will come at some point before you go. So that's what we're getting at the moment. It's done level 1 and level 2, and you tend to mostly come all the way back and form a lower high somewhere here, and then you go up. So more falling on Aptos to come, maybe a small bounce back up to retest maybe around $8.50, $8.60 is possible, and then the journey to the downside continues, depending on how Bitcoin behaves. But this candle will be exceeded if it's red by midnight. Then this candle will be exceeded. Okay, so that's Aptos. Let's go on to ALT. So ALT is back to base. ALT is back to base. This candle here has been exceeded. So, we had a pink candle there. It's been exceeded. I knew this would be exceeded at some point. Normally, it takes a bit of time, but these things, when they light up, they get exceeded. This one has been exceeded as well. So ALT, I think, continues to fall. I would say a double bottom type scenario here, or we will have a kind of a lower high. I think I'm more favoring the double bottom and maybe a slightly lower, price before the bounce, maybe back all the way back to base. So, I mean, this is going to be a strong point to break, because there's psychological barriers here, there's psychological barriers here. So people might defend this point quite a lot. So, this 0057 could be very, very heavily defended, but it may be broken slightly and then we go back up. So a bit more falling on it. There's no divergence on the weekly chart, daily chart. There isn't a divergence yet on the daily chart. So there's a bit more falling to come on that one as well. Let's move on to the next one. On to CETUS. CETUS, again, is going to close triple red on the weekly. So on the daily chart and on the weekly, we have, let me see here. So this candle here has been exceeded. So that's good. I think there's more falling on it. We've done a level 1 drop and bounce, and then you come back down. So there's this box here, somewhere here will be filled on CETUS. If Bitcoin continues its fall into like 65,000, then CETUS will be somewhere in this box here around the 0.11, 0.10 zone. You will probably definitely come somewhere there, because MACD is still coming down. You can see MACD is coming down, down and down and down. So I expect some more falling on CETUS. ONDO, quickly have a look at ONDO. ONDO on the weekly chart, triple red scenario. So we'll go down some more. I drew these boxes a while ago. I think last week they've been filled up. So if we don't get support here, I think we probably will do, based on the fact that you've done a level 1 there, level 2 here, level 3 here, and then you have a lower high, you went up, you come and retest the scene of the crime. I think we will get support here, but if we close like this, we'll come down a bit more first. So maybe a double bottom type scenario, 513, or somewhere here. But it could go lower, slightly lower somewhere there around 445, and that will give us a divergence, and then we can go up. So there's a bit more falling on ONDO as well to come. And if you look at the BTC chart on it, it's not looking good. It's just gone even lower than its previous low. So there's a bit more falling to come on it. Turbo's weekly chart, there's a lot of sell pressure at the top. So we went high, we've come down, done a lower high, and now we're coming back, retracing back down again. So there should be some more falling action on Turbos. I think I'll move this line somewhere there, would be probably the point where I think it will hit this coming next few days. And then keeps its journey maybe to go up after that. So Turbos is going to be more falling. Let's look at Jupiter. I think GNON, somebody had GNON as an altcoin, I don't know, but maybe we found out GNON was an altcoin. And as you see, altcoins are just, it's all been drained up badly, and it's going to go down some more on this one. So not looking good on GNON. Numogram, not looking too good. It's got some more falling on it. Fatcoin, this coin keeps pumping and pumping and pumping, but as you can see, first week you have a big pump and then dump back to base. It's the way all these altcoins behave, isn't it? Like, not altcoins, meme coins. They pump hard the first week, then they sell off badly. If you don't know how to trade meme coins, probably are not a great one to probably even play with, because they all go to zero anyway. Meme coins, most of them, except a few, I guess, that stay. But yeah, that one is going to go down some more again. Jupiter, I like Jupiter a lot. My weekly chart, it will probably end triple red, which means there's more selling pressure. So we'll probably there's more selling pressure, because if I'm counting levels here, that whole move there is one level, that whole move here is two, and we haven't come below this. So, and this pink candle is sitting here around what, 6579. So certainly my first line has been hit. This will get hit. It will get hit. And there's a chance that, it comes even as low as here, which is, somewhere here around the 0.44. This zone here becomes an attractive zone to buy Jupe for the upside. But it will do well. It will do well. So, but there's a bit more falling to come on Jupe. Optimism, weekly chart, sell pressure, triple red scenario. So there's more falling to come on Jupe, on Optimism. If we close like this, we'll come down some more. More likely this candle will be exceeded. The 1.06, it's more likely to be exceeded. So, if I put a line for our target on there, then I'll draw it. Either we get double bottom, and it looks like a strong support zone. I mean, I must be honest. So it's cutting across here, cuts across in through this congestion zone here, cuts across here, is here as well. So, I mean, it could be a very strong support zone, 105, 104. That sort of zone probably gets support. If it doesn't, then we back down here. I think this more likely will get support. But, if you're going to buy, then, you buying for the long position. If you buy it at $1 and it falls to, what, 0.5, you're 50% down, but it will come back up and go to $10, $20, $30, who knows, $40. So it's not a big deal. But if you're trading, then you got to manage your proportions, and you buy some here, and you buy maybe 5% here. You wait for confirmation, and if we get confirmation, somebody sent me a message. Moving. Okay, all right, fine. We'll have a look at that. Then 5% here. You wait. If you get confirmation, you load up the rest of the 10%. If we don't, then you come and buy your next 10% here, and more likely you get support there. So that's Optimism. IMEX weekly chart, a bit more falling coming on that one as well. We probably end triple red, so a bit more falling coming on. The line I drew has been hit for IMEX. 107 has been hit. More falling, more falling likely, very likely more falling. So I think we will probably get, let me move this line, a double bottom type scenario, probably get 0.89. Or, we fall to the base here. I mean, these places got a lot of support. There's support here, there's support there, through here, there's support also through there. So it could be a strong support, but if we don't get support here, then, you're looking at somewhere there, which would be like 0.5, 0.6. So I don't think we'll get there based on the strength of this coin, but, if I'm trading it, I'll buy 5% here and I'll wait for confirmation. We get confirmation next week that we're going to go up. Then I load up my next 10% or maybe even 20% of my account. I'll load it up because I know we're going up. The key to all this is just getting the confirmation, really, to load up some more. You don't have confirmation, you have to be very cautious. So this could go down a bit more. And then say it's another one I like. So say it's got weekly chart is again triple red, so there's more falling coming. I think say we'll hit there at the very least. And I think even could hit here as well. So that would be the box that I'll draw for sale, somewhere around the 0.24 back to the 0.15 zone, somewhere there will be hit before we start going up. And then we've got, let me look for this coin that says the moon day.
It's Moodeng.
DIG.
No, it's Moo like MOODENG.
EENG.
No, Moodeng, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah? Oh, bro, I think we looked at this last week. I think we did, and I drew the lines. Look at that.
Yes.
Look at that. It's just gone way beyond, way beyond the line. Goodness me, this is not good, bro. It's gonna go down some more. It will go down some more. You got some more falling to come on this coin before you go anywhere. I think if I'm gonna draw it, I would say maybe there and there, somewhere there. It's got some more falling. There's no, let me look at the daily chart. You can see from here, nothing there for divergence, but nothing here. Okay, we're trying to form something here. Bro, there's more falling, unfortunately. It will fall some more. More falling on that one. Has anybody got any other coin? Let me look at this coin, BOBA. BOBA is one of my coins as well. So let's look at BOBA, right? Okay, weekly chart on BOBA. Yeah, there's a bit more pain, a bit more falling on it. I think BOBA will probably do a double bottom here, or alternatively, we don't get support there, then let's see where the other support zones are. Somewhere there. There's a strong support here as well. So here, because there's support there, there's some support there, and so, but I think it's more likely to get support here at the 0.16 zone or somewhere slightly below. So this box will be filled, and then after that we can go up. So that's BOBA there for you as well. So I think that is all I've got. Let me quickly look at the total market cap, and then we'll wrap up. Total market cap for altcoins, as we can see, it's pulling back and it's triple red, so which means we will come back down. And again, I think I drew this last week. That line there is probably going to be retested. So the 521 billion mark is going to be retested before we actually get going. So that we've tested this divergence here. This wick divergence has been tested. And then we can keep going, because all that is basically done is just go up, back. There's no, there's no lower high. Okay, there's a small lower high here, but you know, we need another lower high to test this week again or somewhere there before we go. And I've drawn this trend line as the retest line. So you've broken it, you come back to retest. Let's see if we can hold it. But I don't think so based on this candle. It's going to go down some more. We don't have a divergence on the daily chart either. So altcoins are going to bleed some more. More bleeding on altcoins before we go up. And this is probably the what most people call the altcoin reckoning, right? You know, when Bitcoin dumps to 65K and all of them get back to their base, you know, that's the great opportunity. You know, we shouldn't, you know, ideally we shouldn't have to buy till you know the weekly chart is ready. And if we did that, we would have done really well. Just wait for the weekly chart to be ready and then buy. But you know, that's why we're doing this on a weekly basis, and as we do it a weekly basis, we get better and better. You know, we sharpen our pencils a bit better. So that's all I've got. If anybody's got any other coin, let's go and see what Bitcoin is doing currently. Yeah, so we're draining the swamp, literally. This daily candle is being drained up very badly. So it's more likely for more price fall action coming tonight. Has anybody got any coin they want me to look at? Otherwise, I think I am done in terms of coins that I want to cover. No? Okay, cool. Any questions from anybody? No? Okay, well, that's about it then. We finished on time, and have a good week. You know, I'll give you an update tomorrow morning when I get up if anything has changed based on the candle sets. You know, I'll give an update on Monday as to where we are. But yeah, this week we have to stay really sharp because, you know, if we see a change and a good change on the daily chart, then we need to respond accordingly and make sure we are loading our bags full before the train leaves. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch up soon.
Sonia, thanks very much.
No worries.
Thank